Howdy everyone. So, when I was 13, I saw a documentary on YouTube called Cowspiracy. I don't know if it was actually hosted on YouTube, I think someone just re-uploaded it or something, but that was the tipping point for me to act on my already established sort of aversion to animal products. And I had an aversion to animal products since I was very young. I had an experience whenever I was 5 years old. I was hunting with my grandpa, and we were out hunting deer, and we're sitting in the deer blind. And a doe comes up, and my grandpa wants me to shoot the doe, and I'm supposed to shoot the doe, obviously. And I start crying because I'm afraid. And he thinks that I'm afraid to shoot the gun. He thinks that I don't want to shoot the gun because it's going to be loud, and that's what he thinks I'm afraid of. But in reality, I didn't want to kill the deer. That's why I was crying. It was, a female deer. So obviously, I had some sort of maybe. I don't know if it's in a natural level of empathy towards animals to start with. I'm not exactly prepared to say that I was an empath. Essentially, I was always sort of weird about the texture of meat and weird about certain, what kind of meat I was eating. Like, that experience whenever I was hunting happened whenever I was 5, but I remember whenever I was like 8 or 9, I was at my grandma's house and we were cooking venison, and I was sitting in there watching my grandma cook it, and my cousin, who was about my age, came up and he was pointing at the meat and he said, or no, it was after it was done cooking. We were sitting at the table about to eat it, and he said, I watched the blood cook out of that, and I watched the blood sizzle in the pan, and that sort of thing, and it just it turned my stomach so much. Okay, so whenever I was 13, I watched that documentary, and it finally caused me to become a vegetarian. So I was a vegetarian from 13 until 22. And a few years later, I'd become a vegan. About 11 months ago, almost. I was 150 pounds, and like I said, I started lifting every morning, and now I'm about 180 pounds. Not all of that's been muscle. Probably more than half of that's been fat, but I could use the fat, actually. But if you're just a regular person, there's no reason to stunt yourself and to sabotage yourself, and let yourself not live up to your potential, because it affects so much more than just how you feel. It affects how you perform, and in your life and in your relationships and all that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm not going to go on rambling too much. Like I said, we'll talk more about different aspects of veganism later, but I think that's all I wanted to say for today. So farewell. But 10 months ago, it was... I love when planes go over. No matter how far away you get from civilization, you can never escape the motors of airplanes going over.